Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about pretty much all of these sort of first time watches for me over the last 2 months. There's about 30 titles here to get through. I thought that it was a bit of a struggle at the end of last year to try and talk about movies that were first time watches for me. I just hadn't seen that many, so I think moving forward with these types of topics that I want to cover, particularly first time watches, is I think what I'm going to do is kind of accumulate a certain amount of films over time, and then when I feel as if I've watched enough movies that I want to talk about, I'll then go forward and make a video once there's a decent amount of films I think to talk about, because I think trying to watch 10 new films I haven't seen before a month, as well as trying to watch new Blu-rays and older films I enjoy as well, is a bit of I'm finding that a bit of a task. So I think just moving forward with these types of videos, they're going to be a bit more sporadic and come when I think as if I've seen enough to warrant making a video and trying to, talk about as many movies as possible. So yeah, in this one, there's about 30 titles here that I want to talk about. I've enjoyed each of these movies, maybe some more than others probably deserve, but yeah, there's a good bunch here. I think I've enjoyed all of them on some sort of level, some more than others. But yeah, going to kick it off with the first title I've got here. And it is a concert film, and it is Talking Heads in Stop Making Sense. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I'm not a massive Talking Heads fan, at least I wasn't for a very, very long time. There was maybe one or two songs I could tolerate from them. But going out and sort of hearing more of their music, I got a bit more intrigued by them. There was some songs that I hadn't heard before that I was really starting to enjoy. And this concert film was just an absolute great spectacle. Really, really enjoyed this. Really sort of got me into them a little bit more. And yeah, it was just mesmerizing to watch. Really, really good music, really good stage production. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this. So that is Stop Making Sense. Next up, we have a movie sort of from the late noughties, as it was, I think. I think this came out in 2009. We have Exam. Yeah, this was a really, really good movie with a really cool concept. I really enjoyed this one. It kind of had 8 people who were competing for this job. It was like a top job at this really, really secret organization. And they were all sat down in this room, had a pen and paper in front of them, and pretty much this guy just said to them, there's one question in front of you and we require only one answer. You have to figure out what that is. That's the question. That's what they've got to do. And there's certain rules. They can't write on their own paper. They can't interrupt or ask people for certain questions. They're just stuck in this room and they've got to figure out what it is. And they're all competing for this one job. Only one of them can get this job. It was a really, really cool movie with a really awesome concept, and it really, really keeps you on the edge of your seat where it's going, what it's doing. Great performances in it, and I just really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that is Exam. Next up, we've got a movie that was recommended to me by my good friend Mike over at Cinema X-Man. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. And this was a Stuart Gordon movie with Stephen Rea and Mia Savaro, and that is Stuck. Yeah, it kind of followed this guy who was being evicted from his house, and Mia Savaro, who's kind of played this nurse, she kind of hits him with his car and he gets stuck to the front of it. And she drives home and leaves him stuck on the front of her car. And that's the movie. He's trying to get help. She's wondering, what the hell do we do? She's trying to figure out with her boyfriend what to do, and that's the movie. It was really, really cool, really awesome. Really, really enjoyed this one. Great concept as well. So that's Stuart Gordon, Stuck. Next up, we've got The Clan of the Cave Bear, starring Daryl Hannah. This movie very much reminded me of Quest for Fire, but it did have a bit more dialogue in it. It was kind of this caveman setting, Neanderthal setting, where Daryl Hannah's character was kind of this new breed of caveman almost, and trying to sort of integrate her life into this new clan as it was. And it had some brutal moments in it, because the way kind of like Neanderthals mated, they didn't really ask questions, they just did it, and it was a bit uncomfortable in this movie for me, but I still enjoyed it. I still think the setting of it looked really good. So yeah, that is The Clan of the Cave Bear. Next up, we have a Paul Verhoeven movie. This movie was fucking weird. I just didn't really know what to make of this. I enjoyed the cast in it, and it is flesh and blood. Jennifer Jason Leigh, Rutger Hauer. Really, really weird movie. You don't really know who to sort of root for in this movie. It's just, there's a lot of uncomfortable scenes in it. There's murder, there's rape. It's just weird and bizarre. Everything you'd expect from a Paul Verhoeven movie, but I don't really know what to make of it. There were things I enjoyed about it. Rutger Hauer I absolutely love. He's an actor I really, really miss, but yeah. Check this one out if you've not seen it and make your own mind up about it. I just thought it was bizarre. So yeah, that is Paul Verhoeven's Flesh and Blood. Next up, we've got a zombie movie that I think came out in the mid noughties. It stars Billy Connolly, and it is Fido. Really like the setting of this movie. Sort of this 50s suburban setting, but it has these really great looking zombies in this movie, and I really thought there was a great juxtaposition there between the suburban setting and these violent, gory zombies. I'm not a Billy Connolly fan. I don't particularly like him or rate him, and I have my reasons for that. But in movies, I kind of used to enjoy him. But this one for me, I thought he was okay. I thought he was pretty good in this movie. But yeah, kind of as a zombie who there's this company who comes up with these collars that kind of domesticates the zombies, and yeah, it's kind of about the character that he becomes while he's got this collar on. But yeah, it was a fun zombie movie. It had lots of gore in it as well. Not as much as I'd liked, but it was still there. And like I said, that played alongside the suburban setting, I just really enjoyed. So yeah, that is Fido. Next up, we've got a drama from the 80s, and that is Desert Hearts. So yeah, this was I think a movie a little bit ahead of its time. It kind of follows this divorced woman who ends up sort of meeting and becoming friends with this outgoing, free-spirited lesbian, and the two of them form this relationship. And yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of ahead of its time. It's more accepting, and I think for the time that this movie was made, it had quite a steamy sex scene in it, and it was it was just well done. It was a great movie. Really enjoyed it. Great characters, and I liked where it went. I thought it was a solid film. So yeah, that is Desert Hearts. Next up, we've got a foreign film, and this one had been recommended to me again from Mike Cinema X-Man and Pete over at Play Tender Guy. Leave a link to his channel down below. And it is The Vanishing. I'd heard some really great things about this film. I did enjoy it personally. The ending is, yeah, it's pretty good. Really, really good, solid ending about sort of with what happens in this build-up. It obviously follows this this guy who was in a relationship and his partner went missing, and it's about him trying to find her. And yeah, that ending, it really did stick with you. And I just enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really solid movie. So yeah, that is The Vanishing. Next up, we've got a movie from the 90s that I absolutely loved. This film, I really do. I was a guest over on Corey's channel, Wilkie's Movies and Music, and I was watching one of his other live streams. I'll leave a link to his channel down below as well. And this movie came up, and I'd never heard of it, I'd never seen it, and I wanted to give it a go. So it's from 1995, and it's called Angus. So yeah, it's kind of follows this overweight kid and his best friend, and this kid, he's absolutely in love with this girl. He's just head over heels, but she's dating the school bully played by James Van Der Beek. And this movie just had a great cast. It was the 90s version of Lucas, and I was just watching this film wondering, where the hell has this film been all my life? I absolutely loved it. It starred Kathy Bates as well as the kid's mother, George C. Scott as his granddad. There's a scene in this movie that just absolutely teared me up. It was so emotional, and I just loved it. I loved where it was going. I loved the setup to it. It was just one of those great 90s high school movies that I'd just gone completely under my radar. And I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So, yeah, if you haven't seen this one, check it out. This is a Spanish DVD, but yeah, this is Angus. Highly, highly recommend that one. So next up, we've got a movie with, again, this has got another great cast to it. Fred Ward, Julianne Moore, and David Warner. Directed by Martin Campbell. I think he directed Goldeneye and Casino Royale. But yeah, this is Cast a Deadly Spell. This is another Spanish DVD release. But yeah, this was kind of like a film noir, but it was a very strange one. You got Clancy Brown in there also as well. But it was about Fred Ward, who was this investigator who's sort of living in this time period where magic has become the normality, and he wants nothing to do with it. He's very sort of Stone Age, has a Stone Age way of thinking, organically to the setting of the movie, and he just wants no part of magic because it's become the norm. And David Warner as the villain was just absolutely great. And like I said, Clancy Brown was great in it as well. But yeah, one I hadn't heard of before or seen, and I just really, really enjoyed this one for what it was. So yeah, that is Cast a Deadly Spell. Next up, we've got kind of sort of a body swap movie from the late 80s. Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage. Vice versa. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. It didn't really invent the wheel, but I just loved that 80s vibe to the movie. Really, really enjoyed this sort of father-son duo who end up sort of, like I said, swapping bodies. And yeah, it's been done before, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. Thought it was a lot of fun. So yeah, that is Vice Versa. Next up, we have William Friedkin's Jade. Yeah, this was the first time watch for me. I'd never seen it before. Great director. This, for me, sadly, wasn't his finest hour, but I still enjoyed the movie nonetheless. David Caruso was good in the movie. It has a great sort of thriller vibe to it, and yeah, it's worth checking out if you've not seen it. It's not amazing, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that is Jade. Next up, we've got a Video Nasty, and this one had been recommended to me by Nige over at Rock God 2004. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. And this movie had been doing the rounds in the community. Really, really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that is Fight for Your Life. A very different Video Nasty. I think it earns its place on that list for very, very different reasons to the other movies that were on it. Yeah, it's the language used in this movie. There's no other word for it but offensive. It is very, very tough and difficult to listen to. Definitely by today's standards. The movie would just, would not be made today. No question about it. And yeah, it's brutal, it's harsh, but it's a really good, solid movie at the end of the day. But like I said, the language used in it, it's hard to stomach, but it's a really good movie nonetheless. So yeah, that is Fight for Your Life. Next up, we've got a sort of comedy movie that I'd not seen before. It stars Tommy Lee Jones, and it is Man of the House. So it's kind of like Tommy Lee Jones is brought in as this protector for this group of cheerleaders who witness this crime and have to go under the Witness Protection Act. And he's kind of just like keeping them in this house under house arrest. They can't go anywhere. They can't go out and have fun or anything like that. And you can imagine where this movie goes with its comedy. It does exactly what it says on the tin. But I enjoyed this one. Really, really good fun. So yeah, that is Man of the House. Next up, we've got like an action martial arts movie that I really enjoyed. Only the Strong. So yeah, this kind of follows this school of reprobates, as it were, and this guy's brought in as this martial arts. The teachers see him in action, and they start to notice that the kids respect him. So they kind of head him to kind of like put these kids on the right path. But one of the kids kind of doesn't really want to know, and he has a relative that's quite high up and quite dangerous in the community, and you can see by the front of this cover where things are going to go. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. A good martial arts movie with a lot of fun characters in it. So yeah, that is Only the Strong. Next up, we've got a comedy from, I think, the early 2000s. Yeah, Out Cold. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. Victoria Silvstedt, I should say, and Zach Galifianakis. Fun comedy set at the, snowboarding ski slopes. Really, really enjoyed this one. Has that sort of, American Pie feel to it. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. Really, really good time. So yeah, that is Out Cold. Next up, sticking with the next couple of movies now, kind of from the comedy genre. Justin Long, Jonah Hill in Accepted. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. So following Justin Long, who is kind of didn't get into the university he wanted to, so he decided, rather than tell his parents he didn't get in, I'm going to make up a fake university, and we're going to have loads of applicants for those kids who just didn't make university, and we're going to be that university for those kids. And yeah, I just enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. Really, really had a great time with this one. Really getting into Justin Long's comedies as well. So yeah, had a blast with Accepted. Really, really a lot of fun. So yeah, that is Accepted. And sticking with Justin Long as well, got Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris in this one as well. God, I love this movie, and it is Waiting. Yeah, a lot of fun. Again, kind of sort of similar to Justin Long, getting into a bit more Ryan Reynolds unheard of comedies in the last couple of months. But yeah, following a group of waiters in a day of their life at this restaurant, and yeah, some of the stuff they get up to when customers are rude, what they do to their meals is just absolutely stomach churning. It was horrific to watch, but I couldn't look away. It was just hilarious. There's a scene in this movie as well where one of the characters, she lifts up her skirt. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, really, really fun movie. Really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that is Waiting. And next up, we've got possibly one of the rarest movies in my collection. This was an expensive DVD because it's long out of print now. There's no Blu-ray of it, I don't think. And this stars David Spade and Jeremy Piven and Jon Favreau as well. And it is PCU. I think the movie's also called Politically Correct Party Animals as well. But yeah, this was another one I really, really enjoyed. That college setting. I really like Jeremy Piven as an actor as well. I think he's quite underrated. Nice to see him branch out on his own as well. Sort of away from John Cusack, because they did a lot of movies together. And yeah, this was a fun movie, a fun college movie. Really, really enjoyed it. If you like those types of movies, Animal House, Revenge of the Nerds, yeah, this one's cut from the same cloth. So yeah, that is PCU. Next up, this was again another sort of comedy that I'd never heard of before. I was so interested in this movie just based on the cast alone. Alicia Silverstone, Woody Harrelson, John Cleese, and it is Scorched. So yeah, this kind of follows three people who decide to rob the same bank on the same day at the same time. And John Cleese is just absolutely despicable in this movie. He is a great villain. And yeah, that is pretty much the premise of the movie. It's mainly his money that they take, but yeah, I just thought this was fantastic. Really, really good comedy, really underrated, and yeah, just absolutely enjoyed it. So yeah, that is Scorched. Next up, we've kind of got like a suspenseful thriller type action movie. And it is Way of the Gun, Benicio del Toro in this one. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the start of this movie. It's kind of, this argument builds up, and Sarah Silverman and her boyfriend, that stuff I thought was absolutely hilarious. Really, really funny. Juliette Lewis comes into the movie as well. She's kind of like the girl that these two kidnappers are interested in. And yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it just didn't capture the magic of the start. I had such a blast with the start of this film. And yeah, that's why I really wanted to talk about it. So yeah, that is Way of the Gun. Next up, we've got a couple of Jerry O'Connell movies. These two movies are not great. I know they're not great, but my God, did I have a good time with them. So the first one we've got, again, Jerry O'Connell, Bridget Wilson, Ryan Reynolds, Elisa Milano, Buying the Cow. Yeah, really, really weird title. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It was a lot of fun. Underrated comedy. Goes to some risque places. Ryan Reynolds in this movie, there was a scene I was like, what are you doing in this movie? But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. It appealed to that weird little taste that I have when I want to watch a movie I can just switch my brain off to. But yeah, enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that's Buying the Cow. Next up, another movie with Jerry O'Connell, Shannon Elizabeth, and Jake Busey. I was sold on the cast alone. Tomcats. Yeah, a lot of fun. Like I said, bit of a far-fetched premise, following these group of friends at school who have this bet who the last one to get married is. Jerry O'Connell bets like his share of the money away or something, and he has to get it back, and it's a bizarre movie. But Shannon Elizabeth was great in the movie. Jake Busey was just brought all that Busey weirdness to it. There's a scene in this movie that involves an amputated testicle. It was hilarious and disgusting all at the same time, and I just thought it was, yeah, fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. It's not a good movie by any means. It's silly, it's over the top, but for me, yeah, I enjoyed it. I got something from it. It was just, I just thought it was fun. So yeah, that's Tomcats. Next up, we've got a British movie, and yeah, this one went under my radar a little bit with Sally Hawkins, and it is Happy Go Lucky. Yeah, I was interested in checking this movie out. She's an actress that I really like, and she kind of plays this sort of free-spirited teacher, teaching primary kids, and it's about sort of her sort of, you know, trying to find love, I guess. And what really won me over about this movie was her interaction with her driving instructor in this movie. I thought all the scenes between her and him in this movie were just absolutely fantastic. I thought it was some of the best dialogue I've heard in the movie. Yeah, very, very interesting and borderline relatable. I just thought it was really, really well done. That was my favourite part of the movie, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So, yeah, that is Happy Go Lucky. Next up, I think this movie sort of came out in the early 2000s or late 90s, around about that time, and it is Lost and Delirious. So this is kind of a movie about a girls' boarding school, I guess, and two of the girls start to form this relationship. They sort of are sort of branching into falling in love with each other. I guess, and I thought that was a great idea for a movie. And because they're at this boarding school, there's certain people who also go to this school that they kind of don't want to find out. They want to keep their relationship secret, otherwise they know there's going to be some dire consequences. And you can kind of see the way that this movie unravels where it's going to go. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was a good, solid movie. So, yeah, that is Lost and Delirious. Next up, we've got a horror movie, and this was a decent slasher. I enjoyed it. Valentine with Denise Richards. Yeah, I thought this movie had a great start to it. Sort of at this high school prom, Valentine's Day, I guess. And there's this young lad, and he's asking all the girls to dance with him. They're all turning them down, and one of them sort of says yeah, but you can tell she's kind of shy, and they end up sort of both kissing together. And these group of lads see them, they go over to them, and the girl sort of pretends that she's being harassed and assaulted, and these kids beat him up, and that's where the movie, then the time jump, and the movie sort of takes off from there. And it went down a route I didn't expect it to. I'd just say check this out. It's got a really, really rubbish score on IMDb. The movie does not deserve that score that it's got. I thought this was quite good, quite competent, and I just enjoyed it. I thought it had some creative kills in it, and I just thought it was a delightful little horror film, little slasher. really, really enjoyed this. So yeah, that's Valentine. Next up, we've got a movie from the 80s that has kind of eluded me for the longest time. I've recognised the cover, but I never actually got around to the movie. And it is Daryl. Sort of find this about this kid who has, you know, kind of like these, I don't want to say special abilities, but he has this knack for kind of like computer games, and it kind of unravels or discloses this hidden talent that he's in, and some people are after him. And I just enjoyed the movie for what it was. It didn't do anything special, it didn't blow me away, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine. Really, really enjoyed it. It was just one that has eluded me for the longest time because I've recognised the cover so much. It's been a synonymous cover, I think, with me, but just never seen the film. So I gave it a watch and I enjoyed it. So yeah, that is Daryl. Next up, we've got another comedy with Ryan Reynolds. This, I think, is one of his more famous movies, but I had just never seen this up until recently. And it is Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart in Just Friends. A movie about trying to sort of break out of the friend zone, I guess. And yeah, I just enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun. I think Ryan Reynolds back in the day was quite underrated. I think he definitely had star power about him and that draw. And yeah, this was just a fun movie. I enjoyed. Again, not a movie that reinvents the wheel. It's not an amazing film, but it just satisfied an itch that I had, and yeah, I just thought it was a little bit delightful. So yeah, that is Just Friends. Next up, we've got this rock climbing movie, I think from the early 90s. I think this movie came out similar time as Cliffhanger, and it's got Michael Biehn in it, and it is K2. Yeah, this was, again, a fun sort of little adventure thriller that I enjoyed. Yeah, it was a rock climbing movie. It had some great characters in it, and I just thought it was a lot of fun. Again, nothing too special. Not as good as Cliffhanger for me, but I still enjoyed the cast of characters in this film. I loved the scenery in the movie as well. Just thought it was a lot of fun. So yeah, that is K2. And the last movie on my list is, again, another comedy that had eluded me for quite some time. I'd never seen it before. It's not a great movie, but The House Bunny, Anna Faris and Emma Stone. Yeah, kind of follows Anna Faris, who's she's this house bunny at the Playboy Mansion, and she gets kicked out of the Playboy Mansion, and it's kind of about her reconnecting with what's important, meeting new characters, and again, I thought the movie was a lot of fun. Nothing amazing, nothing great. Not going to win any awards or anything like that, but like some of us here in the community say, okay is just okay, and that's all right. So yeah, that's exactly what this movie was. I enjoyed it and had fun with it. So yeah, that is The House Bunny. So yeah, those are all of the first time watches for me over the last couple of months, guys. 30 titles. I don't know when the next one's going to be, but like I said at the beginning, going to sort of build up those movies first and then have a decent chunk of films to talk about. So going to leave the video there, guys, and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.